Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Alva Academy in Clackmannanshire is teaching its pupils, who are very young, all about polyamory. That is, to have multiple sexual partners at the same time. They're introducing this and saying it's perfectly normal and acceptable. But they're doing it to children, because again, the sexualisation of children from a very young age. When asked about it, the Scottish Government has done the very brave action of running away and hiding. They don't want to address the issue. They don't want to neither condone nor condemn the practice because they're scared. If they condone it, they're going to risk the ire of parents, and if they condemn it, they risk the ire of the LGBT community. So they can't say anything. Hoist with their own petard. Meanwhile, the parents are not happy about it, and even the local authority is refusing to say anything. Oh dear, what a little pickle they've got themselves into. Let's have a look at this article and see why they're all scared of saying anything. None of them have got a spine. Here goes. So, SNP Ministers go into hiding over polyamory sex lessons in Scottish schools. Pupils at the Alva Academy in Clackmannanshire are being taught about polyamorous lifestyles, which involves having multiple partners at the same time. It's part of the learning under the LGBTQMOUSE umbrella. So Scottish ministers have gone to ground. Of course they have. They're hiding. They don't want to be asked questions about this, do they? It's in a row over a school in an SNP-run local authority accused of promoting promiscuity to pupils. It's SNP. Of course they are. It's what they do. Concerns have been raised over pupils at the Alva Academy in Clackmannanshire being presented with material about polyamory. And this is the lifestyle that promotes multiple partners, as we mentioned. Clackmannanshire Council said polyamory was included as part of the curriculum teaching pupils about the different communities to exist under the LGBTQ umbrella. But when asked, the Scottish Government, which became the first in the world to embed alphabet inclusive education across the school curriculum in 2021, and thus the first in the world to massively sexualise children, but then we know that was always their aim. We know what the P in SNP stands for. It refused to comment on the teaching of polyamory at the school, whose Latin motto, Asa in Ludo Ludesque, means keen in work and play. Well, I think the SNP are very keen in playing with children. They refused to condone or condemn the material being taught, despite having drawn up the controversial guidelines supporting transgender pupils in schools behind the adoption of gender ideology throughout the education system. Again, pushing the agenda, pushing the sexualisation of children at every available opportunity. A spokesperson for the local authority said a flag representing polyamory was not flown at the school, but added it is part of an educational resource, an information sheet used to raise awareness of the many different communities that exist under the umbrella of alphabets. Each information sheet displays the flag and a clear definition of the community it represents. In other words, all the people who seem to have problems forming normal relationships. Because anything other than lesbian, bi or gay is a mental illness. You get 3 letters that represent attraction, attracted to men if you're a man, attracted to women if you're a woman, or attracted to anyone regardless of your sex. The first 3 are attractions. After that, it's mental illness. It's what it is. All educational establishments across Clackmannanshire use the National Relationship, Sexual Health and Parenthood Curriculum Resource, which was developed by a partnership of local authorities and health boards with advice from Education Scotland and Scottish Government and outside forces who wish to push the agenda of sexualisation of children. I'm looking at you, Stonewall. Staff have been trained in the use of National RSHP resource and adhere to the principles, they said, the practices within statutory guidance. Yes, they must be wrapping their little fingers like that, going, oh, children, they're like, honestly, they're like the child's catcher, isn't it? Children. That scared me when I was a kid. He was super creepy. But he is exactly the image you should form in your mind when you think of teachers, because they're teaching this shit to children, whether you as a parent want it or not. Children. Megan Gallagher, that is her above. Boom, 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 boom. There's Megan. Megan Gallagher, the Scottish Conservative Shadow Minister for Early Years and MSP for Central Scotland, said, I suspect many parents will feel uncomfortable about polyamory being promoted to the children. I think many parents are very uncomfortable having any kind of sexualization of their children at all. Teach the actual biological facts of what it involves. Sperm and the egg and how the one meets the other. Teach that. But don't be pushing progressive, gender-based ideology on the children. It's not the job of teachers to do that. It's the job of the parents. It's why they are parents. Anyway, she continued, parents deserve to have their views heard when it comes to their children's education and what is appropriate for them to be exposed to at school. Schools are excluding parents from discussions on gender identity, with many not knowing what their child is being taught at school. And if you as a parent went to the school and asked them, they would refuse to tell you. And the schools refuse to tell the parents because even the schools are embarrassed about it, because they know if they told the parents of the children what they're teaching the children, the parents would be out there with pitchforks and burning torches. They'd be wanting their heads on a pike, They know the parents are against this, and yet they're still teaching it. Maggie Mellon, an independent social work consultant and children's rights campaigner, said, given the capture of the Scottish Government and what seems like every government agency, every trade union and corporation, the revelation that schools in Scotland are preaching polyamory should not really surprise anyone. No, they are sexualising children from increasingly younger ages. And when adults are caught doing things to children, the sentences are slowly reducing. They're making it acceptable in society. It will never be acceptable in society. And we need to start dangling people from lampposts to show exactly how acceptable it is. She continued, Maggie Mellon continued, this is anti-children, anti-women, anti-parent, and against all common sense and morality, and it is time that elected representatives are held to account. Vote them out. Ask whoever your MP is or MSP is or everyone who is elected to a post that directly affects you. Ask them, do they think that children should be sexualised? And if they say yes, you vote them out. And if they say no, then ask them, why then are you sexualising children and condoning the sexualisation of children in schools? And see what their answer is then. And see if they are actually against it. And see if they'll say they're against it. Because if they won't say they're against it, vote them out. Because they are part of the problem. They are also predators, groomers and peas. Caroline McAllister of the feminist campaign group Women Won't Weast said, no, don't hold your weast. How do the schools uphold safeguarding? That's my mother says that to me. Hold your weast. Anyway, how do the schools uphold safeguarding when their actions appear to be overstepping boundaries? Exactly. The schools are endangering children. They're screwing with children's minds. They're screwing with their future. They're pushing an agenda onto them because of all this. We've got to make every child an object of sexual desire to an adult, and then moan when people catch them out on it. Well, let them moan. We need to get all these teachers banned. Every teacher who teaches it immediately put on the register for life, taken out there, disbarred from ever teaching or going near children again. But the same also for every teacher in a school who is not whistleblowing it, who is not fighting it, who is not going against what is happening. Because you're either doing it or you're helping those who are doing it, and that makes you just as guilty. Every teacher is a predator. And I'll stop there and come up. We've got to keep the pressure on. None of these politicians, they push all this agenda out there, but none of these politicians are at the pointy end of this. They seem to think that they're being virtuous in, look at us, we're pushing your weird lifestyle onto these children because we're going to try and make what you do acceptable to them. Some of these practices are not right, and they certainly shouldn't be the job of the teachers to push these lifestyles onto children. Why do they constantly have this need of sexualising ever younger children? Push them in there, groom them, get them ready for when we are ready to take them. That's what's happening. It's the politicians, it's the whole of the establishment. When you even go to court, and the judge tells you that you do not have a right to know the content of the sex education class your child is being taught. And the teachers are saying it's a secret. When any adult says to a child, shh, it's our little secret, you know that they are groomers. I'll stop there. Thank you very much for listening, but do actually do something about it. If you like what you see here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and for heaven's sake, protect your children. And goodbye.